Hey folks, welcome back. So today we're going to be working on building a corral and loading chute for the pigs. So at the time of recording, I'm about a month out from when these guys are heading off to the processor. So I need to hurry up and get something built for doing this. Now, this is something that I want to make sure I build really well. It's good and sturdy, because if you talk to just about anybody who's ever had to load pigs before, if they've had any issues with any part of the process of raising pigs out, it's the loading part that is what gives them problems. And often that goes back to not having a sturdy enough or well thought out, well designed loading area. And now that I've got a permanent place for raising pigs out here on the farm, I want to get a good loading corral area built for doing this, to try to minimize the amount of effort and frustration that goes into getting these guys loaded each year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in right down in this area. I haven't quite determined on the dimensions that I want to do yet. What I'm going to do is probably grab some stakes and kind of lay it out a little bit and see how it looks, and we'll go from there. And before I do that, I need to take a couple measurements on a few things so that I know how big I want to make it. But before we do that, one thing that I can do is, the way this is going to work is the gate opens on this side, and this is where the pigs are going to be able to go from the main area down here into the chute. Now, because we're on a weird hillside here, I had to put in some rocks to kind of fill in the gap underneath here. And since this gate's going to swing open probably maybe 4 to 6 feet here, I need to grab some more rocks to kind of fill in this little area through here that's going to have a really large gap underneath it. All right, so the rocks that I'm going to grab are these guys right here. Originally, I was thinking I was going to make sort of a rock holding area for the compost pile, but I've kind of changed my mind on what I want to do with that. That'll be a different project for a different day, probably a different year. But either way, I don't need these rocks here for that anymore. And these are like exactly what I'm looking for. They're nice, wide, flat rocks that I think should be perfect for what we need up there for the pigs. It's something. Once I get posts and stuff in here and start actually laying this out, figuring out where exactly this gate coming into here is going to be going into the corral area, I may want to rearrange some of these rocks a little bit and try and get them sitting a little bit better. And then, I don't know how well you can see, but there's some pretty good gaps in between here that I need to fill in with smaller rocks and get kind of smoothed out a little bit here yet as well. So I think I may be having a change of mind about how I want to do this. I've been looking at this for the last week or so every time I come up here to feed and water. And And I'm really having some second thoughts, because mainly just because of the amount of slope going across here. I'm not sure how well you guys can tell. Generally, slope just does not show up well on the camera for whatever reason. And I think it's going to be really, really challenging to get the posts in and get the gates in right so that everything swings the way that I want it to. I don't have massive gaps underneath the gates. And another issue is that this area down here is really, really rocky. And so I'm wondering if I may have additional issues just trying to get the post in as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna head up to the top here where the other gate is to the middle woods. There's some small cedars and stuff that are kind of up near there. I've got the Intimidator on the skid steer. We're gonna head up there, rip some of that stuff out, clear it out a little bit up there, and we may be switching plans and going up there and putting the loading corral up there instead, where it's a little bit flatter, and I think it may go in easier. All right, well, I think I'm gonna switch to up here. It's still not perfectly level, but it's considerably more than down there, and I think it'll work better. One reason I originally wasn't thinking I was gonna do it up here is because it's half again as far to drive, so if we get a bunch of rain and the roadway up here starts getting kind of greasy, it could be a little bit challenging to get a trailer up here if I need to get up to load stuff. But as far as actually doing the loading, I think the topography up here is going to work a little bit better for that. All right, we got some posts moved up here. I don't know if you can see down this far or not, but got one here ready to go. Got swapped out for the driver on the skid steer, so we're gonna see if we can't get one or two in here today. I've got to head out here in a little bit, but I at least want to try getting started on this and get something done. So the first one that I want to put in is gonna be where this gate swings open to. This is gonna be like a 3-foot opening here, and then this will lead into the main corral area. This will be the first one, and yeah, because it's kind of got to go where it goes here, and others we may be able to kind of move around if we hit rock. I don't think it's quite as bad up here as it is down there, but there is definitely some around, so this might be interesting trying to get some of these in. Yeah, that's hitting something pretty solid there. This is what I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. I've got a couple options. If I thought it was something smaller, I brought the digging bar up with me to where I might be able to get in there and get it out. I don't think, it's not moving enough. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this one out. So I think my only other option is going to be to just change how big this gate's going to be. Which isn't optimal, but I don't really have much of another choice, I don't think. Boy, this is just going real well, isn't it? Although I'm not entirely surprised that it kind of did the same thing 6 inches over further. Okay, so what I think I'm going to have to do is bring maybe the Intimidator up here, dig around, and see if I can't get that rock out of there. For this, it really doesn't matter if the ground's been disturbed ahead of time, because I'm just going to have board going around here. Obviously, for like with the high tensile, you can't do that with the brace post, because then you're disturbing the soil and it's going to be more likely to try pulling it out, since that soil isn't really well compacted. But for this, if it's been dug up beforehand, it's not really going to make that big of a difference, I don't think. But it's just one more step that you got to do in order to get it in, so it's going to take a little bit longer. Well, I'm not quite sure what to make of that. I was sure there was going to be a big old rock in there. I don't know if the ground, it's really dry out right now. It doesn't seem like it should be as dry as it is just because the temperatures have been cooler, but it's pretty dry out, so I'm wondering if the ground is just that dry and so it didn't want to drive the post in, maybe combined with some tree roots or something. But I didn't see anything in there, and I was getting down in a fair ways, so I guess I'm going to swap back out for the post driver and see if it'll go in. I don't know, that was kind of weird. Alright, so I'm not seeming to have any luck with finding rocks down in here. I keep on digging and all I get is some really, really dry soil. So I've never had to do this before with this driver, but I think I'm going to try pulling this post out and pointing it and seeing if that does any better driving it in here, because like I said, I'm not finding anything in there that's stopping it like a rock. So we'll give this a go and see if it goes in any better. All right, we'll try it again. It's got to be hitting something. It's just got to be hitting something. That's crazy. Okay. I think we may call that one good enough. Alright, so we got the kind of the four corners laid out here, as well as our post that gate connects to. And so I think the next one that I want to put on is going to be right over around in this area. And that is where we're going to have the load out gate. So there'll be a 6-foot gate right here, and then this will be where the trailer backs up to, and then there'll be kind of a chute coming along this side. We'll have an interior fence, wall, whatever, that's going to go partially about 2/3 of the way down the length here, and then so this, you can push them down this way into the trailer. So I think the next post we'll do is the other gate post for this one. All right, well, it's starting to take shape here a little bit. You can kind of see the general idea of what's going to happen. So we got the, we're standing inside of it right now. If you couldn't tell from the lack of walls that we have. But so this is the main gate. This will swing open to that post right there, which will allow the pigs to go from the main area through here and into the corral loading area that we got. Now where I'm standing is kind of the main part of it in here, and then what'll happen is this post right here is going to have this gate hooked to it. I'm not quite sure how I want to do that yet, because this gate will be able to swing around this way, and so the pigs can come from the main area here around this post, and then I can use this gate to start swinging around this corner. I'm probably going to fill in this corner here with a cattle panel, stock panel thing, so it'll be curved going around like that, so there's no big gap between that post and the end of the gate. So then this gate will swing around through here, and then between this post and that post, this will be another wall through here. So once this gate shuts, this part right in here will be its own little area, and then from here I can just push straight into the trailer, which will be on the other side of that gate there. It's a little hard to see, I know, yet without having all the boards up here to divide the stuff up, but that's the general idea of what I'm going for here. Now I've got some rain that may or may not be coming in here in a little bit. Been getting a little sprinkles here and there, but we got a few more posts that need to go in yet that will fill in between some of these posts that are already in, so that we don't have like 12 foot, 14 foot, whatever gaps between the posts. So I'll put in some spacer post in between there. We'll put one in there, another one here, another one here. I think we'll put one in between here because I'm going to put boards. Even though we got the high tensile there, that's not going to keep a pig from going through it. If they start getting a little bit worked up in here, they'll go straight through that high tensile. I have no doubt about it. So I'm going to put board all the way along through there, and I think I'm going to put one more spacer post in between there. It's only about 10 feet, but I'd rather have it there and not need it than get a post in over here and maybe have issues trying to get the skid steer back into here. So we'll just throw one in there, throw one in there, and then I think that'll be all the posts. So 5 more, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5 more posts. All right, well, we got all the posts in. Started getting a little bit of rain coming in, so I set you guys in the truck, but all the rest of these are in. They are not in as far as I'd like them to be, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it either. I really think it's just that the ground is that dry that they just won't go in, because, I mean, these brace posts are in further, and they went in. It was this past spring when these went in, but you know, they did go in another foot farther than these ones were wanting to go. So I don't think it's that there's like some rock shelf or something under here. I think it's just the ground. So, but yeah, these are what they are, and with, you know, the amount of time I've got left to get this in, and what the forecast looks like for rain, I don't think I'm going to do a whole lot better than what I've done. I tried, you know, pushing some of these a little bit harder and just sitting there and driving on them, and I kept on breaking posts when I did that. So it really wasn't doing me any good to try putting them in further because they wouldn't, and then they would end up breaking. So I've measured up what all the spacing is between these and counted up how many of each spacing size there are. So I think the next thing to work on is going down and milling up some boards to fill in between all these posts. Alrighty folks, well that is as far as we're gonna get on this project for today. I was hoping to show a little bit more, but as I started editing it and we're getting up to like 20 plus minutes, I decided to break it into a couple smaller, easier to watch portions. So the next one will be getting on to doing some milling and getting boards hooked up for the pig corral. So that's going to be it for today's video. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.